Now, our topic today, excuse me, here's how it works. Kind of sounds bold, doesn't it? Which in retrospect, when I came up with that title, I thought, man, that's a bold statement, as if I'm the last word, the final authority on how it works. But when I'm invited to speak, I really ask the Holy Spirit, where do we go with it? So any notion that I'm in charge kind of goes out the window right away. I'm going to share my perspective. Maybe you can relate to some of it. Maybe none of it will matter to you. It's okay. What I want to talk about is what is possible when we get out of our own way and have the courage to listen. And I realize I'm talking to a group of pretty much A+ type personalities who all think they know the right thing to do. This is where Reverend Mitch would say, can I get an amen? But we're going to go for it anyway, right? When I spoke a while back, Katie Griffith, whom I love and admire, said to me after the program, she said, you made a few comments about your personal life, and I don't know anything about you. And I think I'm an open book. And she went on to say, it's nice when we know about who our presenters are. All right, here we go. Woo! I'm the second youngest of a family of 7, very staunch, strict Irish Catholic parents. Woo! Born in Kenmore, New York, a suburb of Buffalo, New York, and I flipped a coin as soon as I got out of college. Tails came up, so I went to West Palm Beach, Florida, where it did not snow. Heads would have taken me to California. Whew. I spent 14 years in advertising, radio, and television broadcasting. And that was my beginning. That was where I really, some people get advanced degrees. That was my advanced degree. I learned about the Buddha from a brilliant man named Frank Schratt, who was the audio engineer at the ABC affiliate, Channel 2, in West Palm Beach. And that really threw me onto my spiritual journey. I've been married and divorced. I've been left, and I've been the one to leave. Neither option is ever easy, but we have to go with what we are compelled to do if we are on a dedicated spiritual journey. That's all this is. We're all here for the oneness and the love. I have 3 children, 2 daughters I adopted when they were early on in their life. Melinda first, and Carolyn second, and my son John, whom I gave birth to. They are all wonderful human beings. Now I'm going to cry. Between them, I've got 9 grandchildren. They're all scattered all around the country, from New York to Wyoming. Go figure, Wyoming. And I really do feel their loving connection every day. And when people ask me, why don't you live with your children? I'm like, ooh. Are you kidding me? No, the idea is you grow people and you launch them and you let them find their life. In college, I started out to be a French translator. That morphed into an English major because life has always been my best teacher. Last year of college, I won a $20 bet, didn't finish school, but got a job in a radio station because my then boyfriend didn't want me to go to summer school. So he got real cheeky on me and bet me $20 I couldn't get any job that he picked out of the newspaper. Never bet a Libra with a lot of Scorpio. You will lose. That started my radio career, and I never looked back. So, after all of that beginning, realizing that my journey was not going to be cookie cutter, I was privileged to continue growing in this thing called life by finding unity teaching and science of mind. Between those two teachings and getting sober has saved my life. So, feel free to ask the author any other pertinent questions, and we will move on to today's program. So here's how it works. We are magical bundles of constantly in motion electromagnetic energy. We never stop moving. Just like the universe we are a part of. We have over 300 trillion cells constantly in motion in our body, and they are listening, and they are reacting, they are responding to every thought, every emotion, and everything we say. And they're neutral. And they try to make whatever they hear come true. Feel the enormity of that. The universe is neutral. And since life is only a forward motion operation, we are compelled, ideally, to continue shape-shifting and remaining inquisitive along the path of life, and to not stay stuck in the past. We don't always get what we want. The past is dead, it's over, it's gone, it's kaput. Kaput, bye-bye. Move on to where your life is actually taking place today. So, the marriage didn't work out. You found out you couldn't have children. That college degree you were so counting on didn't pan out. That fabulous new business you started went bankrupt. Just opportunities, that's all it is. Gather up all of those precious life lessons and turn them into energy and fuel to keep you going. Each one of those awful, heart-wrenching events was a lesson. Use that life force energy to be here now. Today, in this present moment, where life is actually happening. It will never be like it was before, way back then, in the beginning of time. Where's Cabmo now, right? Put a woman in charge. And you know what else? You're not the same person either, hopefully, because if you are, you haven't been living your life. Remember, the universe is neutral. Neutral. This has been a particularly hard and emotional year for me. And I'm pretty sure it's been that way for you too. Just where we are right now in cosmic time and space. I know that I signed on for this journey. I know there aren't any do-overs. But you know what? Amidst the tears and the sadness, there have also been moments of great insight and deep awareness. And I have had to force myself to redirect and to remember the writings of people like Ernest Holmes, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle. I've had to elevate myself and to get out of the ditch of the poor me's and the ain't it awfuls and that deep abyss of sorrow. Of course, it's not easy. We didn't sign up for easy. Get over it. We've signed up for brilliant, extraordinary, and courageous. Get on that bandwagon. For 20 years, I had the privilege of working with the best chiropractor and acupuncture physician in Nashville, Dr. Luby Chamble. I saw him last on Wednesday morning, July 17th, and he passed away suddenly in the early hours of July 23rd. He left me. He left me. Never mind about his precious wife and child and his many other patients. He left me. How dare he? Whew. I have not been this heartbroken over a death in ages. But here's the deal. Any of you who have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, death is your companion. Death and loss are your lifetime companions. He was a Scorpio, and I've got a lot of Scorpio. So I had to suck it up. I was asked to write and MC his celebration of life, and it was a privilege to delve into the beginnings and the very intimate details of this wonderful man's life. He was always deeply proud of his Ukrainian heritage and the parents who had had the courage to emigrate from the Ukraine to Canada before his birth. But when I read the death certificate and saw that his time of passing was 7/23/24 at 12:23 a.m., I felt this swoosh of energy move through me, and I heard very distinctly, "Tell me I didn't have a plan." See, that's the thing about love and connection. Someone else's plan might not coordinate with our plan. And I got it in that moment. He died at exactly the right moment. The celebration of life was Saturday night, September 14th, at the Dyer Observatory. And we cried, and we laughed, and we cried a little bit more. And all of the 165 plus people who were there in attendance allowed themselves to grieve in community. Doctors, lawyers, bigwigs in Nashville government, didn't matter. Fabulous musicians. We cried and we grieved, but we celebrated a life. When I was on my way home, totally drained, totally spent, kind of crying, kind of trying to be a grown-up, right? That adulting thing. And then I heard, about 10:30-ish on the way home, "You have to go to church tomorrow to hear Reverend De Palma." I will not share with you what my thought was. The tidied up version is, no, I'm tired, I want to stay home and whine. I want to go down into that pit of it's all about me. But I did my best to be a grown-up, and I came to CSLN right here that next day. Now this is where you really need to pay attention to the circle of life that's all about our oneness and love. Reverend De Palma, in her program, spoke about her great affection for a dear friend and chiropractor, whom she had had the privilege of hosting a celebration of life for. Yes, I could hear Luby on my right shoulder going, You're here. It's okay. This is how it works. After sincerely thanking Reverend De Palma and talking about all of our interconnections and her going, I then decided I'm going to go home, and I heard, no, you're going to the fellowship hall for some fellowship. You too understand what I'm talking about. That notion that we're in charge? Not really. So I ended up going into the fellowship hall, sitting down with my brother from another mother, Gregory Fisher, and a young man I'd never met before. And as we began talking, he's a Scorpio, born around the same date as Luby, much younger. And I felt an immediate kinship with this gentleman. And as it turns out, he has a wonderfully melodic Irish name. And yet, he was adopted in this country from his birthplace of Ukraine. That notion that we are separate and that the dots don't connect, please leave it at the door when you leave today. It's so antiquated. We must be open to training and retraining ourselves to listen to the right messages and then to respond appropriately as we are able. And it's like any other skill. You know, you learned how to drive a car. Maybe you can cook. But it's training. You hear something. You ask another question. You hear another answer. You feel it in this electromagnetic body, and then you have the courage to act on it. That's how it goes. As we learn to continually adjust and readjust our antenna to the best frequency for us, that's not going to be the frequency for Lynn. It's not going to be the frequency for Larry. Not meant to be. It's your band of energy. Then our worlds will continue to open in beautifully magical ways that are also life-affirming and keep us growing. Read the works of the Fillmores and Ernest Holmes, Raymond Charles Barker, Thomas Troward, Joe Dispenza, the Four Agreements, and just allow your own continued awakening to keep happening. This is not a dress rehearsal. As Wayne Dyer stated in Living an Inspired Life, I have an inner voice that is overwhelmingly powerful, and I trust in what truly inspires me. Try adopting that. I have an inner voice that is overwhelmingly powerful, and I trust in what truly inspires me. That same week in September, after a trip to that sanctuary known as Synergy Hair, Skin, Body on Charlotte Pike, I was told, go to the turnip truck now. That was not my plan for the day, since I had been on the hunt for a campaign sign for my chosen presidential candidate, but I followed instructions. You know, at a certain point, you just listen. After shopping at the turnip truck, I was told to sit down now and eat some protein. So, being cheeky, I said, okay, where do you want me to sit? Where do you want me to sit? And of course, all this goes on inside, right? I was directed to a specific table And I sat down, opened my water. I was kind of halfway through my chicken wrap, and I glanced over at the line in the cash register. And I'm like, man, maybe that's somebody I know. But here's the deal, without my glasses, total crapshoot. I might think it's you. It might not be you. But then I looked again. And after that foggy first impression, I found my friend standing in line, Gary Hoffman. And I'm like, Gary, oh wow, Gary Hoffman. There he was. And as he approached my table, which was in a direct line of sight from the cash register, I noticed that he had a campaign button on his ball cap for my candidate. Turns out Gary had just come from the campaign headquarters and had a trunk full of signs, which I bought one, right? Thank you. Thank you. When you hear these messages and you follow the lead and they pan out, your first response has got to be, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I bought that sign and I planted it proudly in my front yard, thanking the universe every step of the way. Profound thanks for that divine inspiration. Go to the turnip truck now. You know, if you're waiting for a burning bush, it ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. From Joseph Murphy in a very, very old book from the 70s, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Hear this. Infinite riches are all around you if you will open your mental eyes and behold the treasure house of infinity within you. The master secret of the ages is this miracle-working power which is found within your own subconscious mind. The treasure house of infinity within you. It's extraordinary. Feel that bursting energy in your heart chakra right now, remembering we only have oneness and love. This last week, with that brilliant super full moon in Libra Aries, which was meant for us to dig really deep emotionally and purge anything we had not made peace with. It's been especially exhausting for me. With a sick puppy dog, anybody hear about Giardia? Woo! Sleepless nights, sleepless nights. After balancing a sick dog, no sleep, and a couple of really beloved people to me who are on the brink of making that passage from this life to the next, it's been a little challenging. But I was told on Wednesday to go shopping now. I think now is my key word, right? Like I might have another plan, I hear now. So Wednesday afternoon, I went to that mecca of ease known as Whole Foods Green Hills. Sleepwalking, reading my list, trying to be a grown-up. But as I was making my way out of the store, I glanced over and saw this really lovely gal wearing a cap that said, "Make America Kind Again." And I looked and I laughed. And I said, "What does your cap say?" And she said, "Make America Kind Again." I cannot tell you how that lifted my spirits. It just gave me that moment of, phew, it's going to be okay. Turns out wearing that fabulous little ball cap was our own Holly Butler. So do you see all the magic, the divine magic that is happening in my life? If it's happening in my life, it's happening in yours. We are here together. We are forever connected. So use all these stories and follow your own divine magic again and again and again and again. It's not just for me to take part in. It's available to anyone who has the courage to ask and listen. We live in a remarkably generous universe, remarkably generous, surrounded by tens of thousands of angels and light beings. That's the White Brotherhood. That's a whole compendium of White Brotherhood energy trying to keep us together, trying to guide us, trying to lead us the right way. And I know I have been a vexation to many of them, but I'm listening. All of these light beings are coaxing us and urging us onward to be the best version of ourselves that is possible in this lifetime. Maybe you haven't hit it yet. Maybe you're afraid to find it. Maybe if you find that part of you, you'll have to leave your church. You may have to leave your partner. You may have to leave your job. What's it worth to you to be who you are meant to be? You know, that's a question. That night that I read Luby Chamble's death certificate and saw the day of his passing as July 23rd, a horrible cold shiver ran through me, and I knew a very precious friend and colleague, Tammy Parrish, whose birth date was July 23rd, had just celebrated her last birthday in this lifetime. Tammy transitioned on Thursday morning about 9:15 a.m. under the bright light of that full moon. She made her way out of this earthly plane surrounded only by love. Only by love. See, it doesn't have to make sense to be real. It doesn't have to be what you want to hear to be the right message. That's where that thing of getting out of your own way is imperative. I'm the most stubborn human being on the planet. But I know I'm a work in progress. As Marianne Williamson states in her newest book, The Mystic Jesus and the Mind of Love, the only real death is the death of love. The only real death is the death of love. And we triumph over that in any moment when we choose love instead of fear. When we choose love instead of fear. We can only come from love or fear. There's no gray area, guys. Get out of the abyss. Get out of it. We are alive at an extraordinary moment in human history. I believe we picked it, and if that's correct, then we better show up. We better show up as the best version of who we are that is entirely possible. As Ernest Holmes so wisely stated, through the power of love, we can let go of the past, history, and begin again. Love heals, forgives, and makes whole. And with that in mind, I would like to ask that we all do our best to move forward with grace, ease, wisdom, and a reimagined consciousness that's attuned only to our highest good. Loving, living in this one perfect moment. It's all we got right now. As we consciously and deliberately remain open to the promptings of divine mind, the Holy Spirit, as we allow it to move through us, and devoting ourselves to act as vehicles of love, light, oneness, peace, and goodness. And so it is. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Sunday service at CSLN. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family. The Center for Spiritual Living Nashville offers spiritual tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilled and meaningful life through a deeper connection with a higher power or universal truths. Be sure to subscribe below if you enjoy our programs.